Hello everyone, welcome. This is going to be my first video of car stuff. I'm going to bring y'all along and see what we can do. I'll introduce you to two of my vehicles, this one over there, this one here, and bring you all along for my work to do on that. Not exactly a restoration currently, and then a full-on restoration as I go for a budget-friendly how to kind of when I run into something, I'll show you what I have to do to solve that same problem. So I'll introduce you to this one real quick. This is my pickup. It's a 1974 F-250 XLT camper bed special. I'm a bit further ahead than I should have started this, but I am taking apart the front end currently, and I'm gonna clean off my frame and all that and work my way back. And then I've also already started my my bed here. I've already cleaned it and put a coat of primer on it. And then underneath I've started putting primer and then started some of the rail. And I'll show y'all what kind of paint I use and all that. The kind of paint that I use this is all brushed on, but I've decided that I would rather go with some of this spray-on stuff. The spray-on stuff I used on another vehicle once, and it seemed to just attach to the metal much better and give a great protective coating and base for a real paint job. Currently I'm working on the frame here. I'm cleaning it off, removing stuff that needs to be out of the way. I had to remove the steering pump here. And I'm gonna be just working my way. I might not get all of it, but when I pull the engine or anytime, I can get into those other places that I can't get into today. I might remove the tires and get some of this outside stuff while I'm here, but I'm gonna get this, put my primer on it, and put black on it, and get a nice protective frame that won't rust anymore, which this is solid frame. We aren't up north here. We're in the south where this stuff seems to last. It's the top end that seems to fall apart, which I've done some work. There used to be a hole right here, and then also these, which always rust pretty much anywhere I've filled in and everything. And since then I've learned some stuff. There's a metal plate that I've welded into here, but also I've used filler, and I'll show you all when we get to it. But there's a better way to kind of handle the metal plate. I believe is good, but the filler I used was wrong in the way I used it. So I might even come back and remove this. I'm not sure yet, but it's all more solid up here. It's not necessarily uniform, and it doesn't have any seam sealer, but it's just a work in progress. Underneath I haven't got anything done yet, but that's for another time soon. We're just preventing currently, and then we'll get into actual true fixing later. I just didn't want it to keep rusting while I didn't have time to work on it. Same thing with the bed. The bed used to have, where the yellow is, a giant hole right there, and I had to weld in a plate. Here you can see there used to be a bunch of pinholes, and I've welded some of them in, some of them I haven't even got to, but currently I'm all at prevention. So I'll bring you all along. I'll show y'all also how I'm going to take these. This is your, I'm calling it core support. I've heard a couple of names for it, but it's what your radiator mounts to and your grill on the other side. I'm going to take the rest of the radiator and horns off, and then clean this, and then prime and spray paint the same black color. So we'll get into, I'm going to continue cleaning the frame up front, and just bring you along, and when I run into something I'll keep showing you. So I've gone ahead and finished what I want to do for as far as the frame. There's dust all over it. I've done that side as well, and you can see, hopefully in the light, see there's still dirt in some of these crevices. I'm not going to go any further than this on because it's the engine, and like I said, I'll probably remove the engine to do the rest of that. But I've gone ahead, see if we can get it to, I've gone ahead and done this side. Again, has a layer of stuff on it. We're going to go back over it, maybe go with some steel wool just to knock off the rest of the anything on there and still rough it up a bit too. And so, but you've got dirt and crevices like this, and down here and in here, and those are places I do want to get paint and primer in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a drill. This could be cordless or anything too, and we're gonna just take the various sizes and get into each of those cracks until we can get all that dirt out. So when you get to some of this, some of it's going to be quite hard to get to. So it's a little feisty in there, so you're just going to have to maybe get some of the old hand tools in there instead of the power tools to get some of this off, because I have no wheels or anything that can actually reach in there. So, and I'm too lazy to go to the store, so I'm just going to take the old, this is brass I believe, brush, and just get up in there and take care of everything else that I need out of there. This is convenient with the little bristles on the back there. Just get in there and, play around with it for a minute. Maybe have to get a screwdriver in there and knock some of it out. But, I mean, you're just going to have to get in there and try it. That's all you can do. Some of the wheels, like in this space, I got a little bit of better surfaces going on now, but maybe even in these corners it gets pretty hard. You're gonna have to just get a brush and do a little bit of elbow grease. That's what this takes. It isn't easy, and that's why not everyone does it, because it's not easy. Alright, I've got in there and cleaned what I can in these. It's not perfect yet. When I have a little something that we're gonna use to try to get it a little bit further, but for now there's a lot of dust in there, and every time you try to do a little more, it gets more dust down, and then you have to blow it out and everything. And I've got it to a point where I'm happy with it, and I really want to just get some of this bigger and heavier dust off real quick. So I'm gonna use my leaf blower real quick, blow it off, and try to get some of all it. Like, it's dusty in here now, and get a good surface to do our next step. Which the next step is, if I blow it off, I'm happy, I don't want to brush it anymore, is I'll probably get out the can of brake clean and just go and wipe it off. I'll show you more in a second, but I'm going to quickly blow it off so that not all of the dust particles get right onto that rag and waste the rag. Alright, I've got some brake clean and just some rags. Any old brake clean, this is just what was cheap. And so, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take off just one. It's paper towels, not rags, but whatever. Open the brake clean. Just either you could just put it directly onto the rag, or just get a little fluid on there and just wipe down in there. And that's going to pick up even more stuff. I know a lot of people who are avid pole barn garage viewers and everything will just say, oh, spray right over it, make it brand new. I agree for the most part, but this is something I actually care about and something that I want to look nice and everything, and you can make it look nice just by doing that, but I want to go the extra mile, make sure that my primer and paint and everything will stick to this surface and actually protect it for, well, I hope this truck to last forever, not necessarily just another 10 more years. So I'm going to do the extra step to make sure that I get a great, good surface on this, and so I'm more comfortable and happy. There's other places where, yeah, put it on. But for now, this is the method I would like to use for this specific project. When your rag gets all dirty and everything, just switch to a new one. You don't want to keep spreading that same oil across everything, then everything's oily. Switch every now and then and get a new rag, or paper towel, or whatever you would like to use. See, now this is dirty again. I'm gonna go to a different side. And if you see a certain spot, like over here for me, it's super oily. Right here, I'm gonna keep going at it until I see the rag is not a big old thick patch like it was right here. I'm gonna make it thin out. My purposes, this is pretty dirty, and right here it's going to be pretty dirty because I couldn't get the wheel in because of this. Now you can replace these, but in my situation it's still got good bounce back. There's a bit of cracking and everything, and I'll come back one day and do this, but for now I'm going to leave it. And so when leaving it, I want to keep its integrity. I don't want to spray the brake clean on here because it'll dry it out and continue more cracking. So you want to make sure to keep it away from any rubbers or hoses and anything of that, belts. You want to keep that away from anything that is that rubbery stuff. Tires, you want to keep it away, brake clean away from as you're working, and so that they last longer if you're planning to keep it. One day I will replace this, but for now I'm going to leave it, and I'm happy with that. I've wiped it down, got plenty of dirty rags, and one of the key things is, oh, I should check right there. One of the key things is after you wipe down a section and you get it all pretty and how you want it, don't go back and touch it with your hands. Your hands are going to be dirty. Whether they're not dirty or not, your finger oil from just existing, basically, you put that on there, and then it'll be harder for the paint to stick. You want a nice, clean, non-oily surface, and that's the point of this. The brake clean will make it no longer oily after you wipe it off and everything. That's what we're trying to get to here. So if you come back and touch it, you're going to have to wipe it back off again. So you don't want to have to keep retracing your steps every time you do anything. So just make sure not to be, you're working on this side, oh, you need to get up, don't put your hand here. Just work your way up, or use something nearby, like I got another truck here. Keep your hands off of it until after all the paint is on pretty much. Then you can touch it. But beforehand, no, don't touch it. So, speaking of, I'm going to clean my hands because our next step is actually going to be primering. Once I missed a spot, so I'll get that real quick. But we'll be going to primering, and I want clean surfaces, so I'm not going to touch it anymore. Alright. Now, from what I can tell, there's plenty of primers to choose from, and it's really up to you. You can use house primer for all I know. But what I like to use, as far as on my vehicles, is Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. This stuff, you can see twice the rust protection and everything. I don't know how much that is true, but what I can say is this truck bed is lined with it. The whole thing is covered in it. And I haven't been here, I haven't actually done any more painting or anything on it for months. and it's still fine. Now, like, see, I missed a spot there. That's on me. But anywhere else that it's actually on the metal, there's no rust coming through it, and this is just primer. And where I live, it's pretty humid. It gets just, you just breathe, and you don't even have to drink around here pretty much. So this stuff does wonders. And right here, rain comes down, it'll hit it and stuff, and it does fine. This bed actually sat out there for a while before I even got it back on here, and there was no problems with rust or anything. This stuff works great on its own, let alone with another layer of paint and actually sealed and all that. So this stuff is actually pretty awesome. I don't know why more people don't use it. Maybe I'll find out. But as well, this isn't even sprayed on with a spray can. This is going to be new for me. This is just brushed on with a paintbrush, and it does this well. It's nice and thick and gives you a really good base coat, and it's still pretty sandable too. Like, you'll get there's thin spots because I brushed it, but you can brush it on pretty thick and then thin it out and everything and make it smooth. So it's pretty, that stuff is pretty dang good. So we're gonna start with this, and then we're gonna move to, it's more primer. There it is. We're gonna go to protective enamel. This is just gloss black. I believe the gloss is actually a bit stronger than the matte, so that's why I'm going with it. And what we're gonna do is, after I shake it up, of course, is we're gonna come over here. We've got our fresh surface, and that's oil-free and everything, and we're gonna come in and spray it. I might have to get the piece of cardboard out and do some master masking right here, but we're gonna just spray a layer of this on, a full layer, maybe go a second if there's some thin spots, but generally you only need just and it fills in pretty well. And then after that, then go back, let it dry, and then go back to the gloss black. This stuff dries very fast. It only takes top coat in minutes. It only takes a couple minutes for it to dry, and then you can go to the base coat. It's like I did say, it's pretty humid here, but it's actually not too humid of a day. So this is a great day to paint. You want to paint in non-humid conditions. But I have painted this in the rain, and it does fine actually. Like, your overall end result isn't gonna look as good, but it's still gonna function just fine. Make sure you shake up your can, get it thinned out a bit. You're gonna have a better spray pattern and everything, and not big blobs and stuff going all over it. As a primer, this isn't as big of a deal, but definitely as a finishing coat, or if you were really working on like outside panels or anything, that would be a big deal. So, but good practice is good practice. So let's see, in this scenario, I don't want my alternator there, so I'm just going to take, this is just a piece of cardboard that I cut off of some Imperfect Foods box or whatever, and that I had laying around, and I'm just going to, it's not, you don't have to mask off everything with paper and tape and anything. Sometimes this is all you got to do to get a nice, good paint job going here. So now, I'm better with my other hand here. I'm going to put this here to just protect my alternator because I don't want to brain it. And then just go, look how thick that goes on with just a couple little sprays. You don't want to go too thick either, because otherwise you're going to have runs in it, which, it's a frame. It had runs from the factory. Who cares? But, the skills that you demonstrate here are also skills that you're going to use later when you're working on body panels and such. So it's just good practice. Get whatever you don't want to be sprayed, like let's say these wires and hoses, just kind of push them out of the way. Be controlled with your spray. Oh, I put a little thick too much there. I'm going to wait a second, go somewhere else, come back to it after it tacks up a bit, and I can spray a little heavier back where I missed. And you're going to want to actually, good etiquette is to spray and then go over the cross, stop, spray over, go in the over it, but we do have these components behind it and everything that I don't want to get sprayed, my wires and such. So sometimes if you can't get your expert masking behind it, you're just gonna have to be quick with it and smart. And a little spray over is gonna be fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. It'll probably fall off anyway because it'll dry in the air. I've sprayed my my frame here, and there were some runs that they're there, but guess what? It's frame. It's all right, and you're in a weird spot and everything, and we're outside. It's not going to be easy and not the perfect thing, but it's frame. It had runs from the factory. It's not a big deal. But I've sprayed it, got full coverage. You may be asking, well, why didn't I get in there and everything all like that? Like I said, one day I want to pull this engine, and when I do, I'm gonna go ahead and do more up into the firewall and all that. But for now, this is where I'm gonna leave it as far as this frame goes. Although, while I'm here and I have the fenders off and everything, I'll do some of this. I'm gonna come up in here and wire wheel everything back here and get a nice good coat on what I can. Especially this line here, that's the inner fender. So I want to get all that because I don't really want to take that inner fender off again. So while I'm here, I'm going to take care of it and wire wheel this, try to remove this plug beforehand, and we'll go over that in a minute, and all this in here so that we have a good solid bottom, which this isn't actually all that bad. There's a little bit of, well, this isn't all that bad. There's parts of this truck that are pretty bad, but I want to get a coat on everything, and I'll explain more about how I want to handle this a little bit later. But for now, we're focusing just on this part of the frame. One day I'm going to rebuild my suspension, and then I'm going to take care of all this. So now we're going to, I've got it warming up there. It kind of helps you thin it out faster. We're going to go over it with our gloss black. I'll give it a couple more minutes to fully dry, but we're going to go over it with our gloss black, and you're going to see it really turn into a beautiful frame. Because beforehand it was dirty, dusty, and I should have got all that off anyways. I found about 10 pounds worth of dirt dauberness and everything, not here necessarily, but throughout the truck. I found pounds and pounds of it. So cleaning this up, getting that dirt off, will not only reduce some weight, but also get rid of moisture traps and everything, so that it doesn't rust through this frame. And one day it could happen again, but if you keep it clean and don't go through the world's craziest mud holes every day, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna take a pressure washer or just even the hose every now and then, just spray up in here, and you'll keep all that dirt out of here. It's just, that's typical maintenance just on any vehicle, new, old. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you don't do it, then you're going to get rust through it. So, and we're re-preparing so that when I take care of this, I can take care of it the way I wanted it to. Maybe it's not the right way, but it's the way I want to. Again, with this black this black enamel and everything, or any enamel, same rules apply. Now I got some runs in it. I'm fine with that on the frame, but again, I don't want this to run on top of that. Then you have runs on runs, which it looks like just twice the amount of runs. So take your time and everything, and make sure you get it exactly how. Just practice the common rules. I've painted it. Looks pretty good, actually. I'm impressed with how this worked out. It looks great. Now I'm outside, and you're gonna have a couple particles lay in there and everything, and in the end, that's okay. You're not gonna get too many. Try your best not to be around sawdust, basically, but you're gonna get a couple. Like I see one or two here, and then even bigger. While you're painting and you're using your cardboard and everything, it's down there. while you're using it, make sure not to touch it as you go, because this stuff comes up real easy if it's still wet and everything. So I would just be real careful with your cardboard. Try to go to the places you need the cardboard first, and then come back. Like, I knew better, but I did the inside of here first, and then put the cardboard and did this, and I had to go back and fix what I messed up because it actually pulled the paint. But I'm gonna let this dry and do its thing and harden and everything. But with that done, I was gonna do this, but like I did say, I do want to get in here and work on some of this. I don't have it in me. I might be able to pull off this grommet yet, but I will get in here and do this. But I want to make sure that dries first, so I'm gonna let that completely dry so that I can get it all dusty or whatever, and it won't matter. But that's gonna take. I'm gonna give that an hour or two before I actually get into it. So then I might do one of my other parts, but I'm going to let that dry and give it all the time it needs to get nice and hard so that you could wipe it off after and it'll be fine, and let it be able to protect everything. So for now, I guess I'm going to start taking this apart, pull on the radiator, and then take off these horns so that I can get to cleaning all this, and then it's going to be the same system, put on the same paint and everything. And I thought about it afterwards, but there is other stuff. You can get that paint. You can get that. Well, my hole's stuck to it. You can get that paint in big cans like this. You know, glossy protective enamel and everything. You can get it, and it turns into that. And you can see how that would protect it in a layer like that. It's almost like a rubber. But it's basically tractor paint. But you can get it in this if you have a spray gun and shop air. But I don't have shop air, so I'm stuck with what I have. That's fun to play with. But yeah, you can get them in this. Same thing with the rusty metal primer, and put it into a spray gun and spray it instead if you rather do that, because the cans. This is like, you can find it, but it's like $26, and a can, this isn't the same can, but they're like $6 for a spray can, and it's just more economic to get this. So if you have a spray gun, might as well just grab this instead and save a couple bucks. For now, either I need to be working on this, or actually be working on these, because this has to go in before that does. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the grinder back out and wire wheel this off. Take out some of these little nuts and stuff. I just have them in here for reference, so that I know where they go, because I didn't have a specific bag I wanted to put them in. And go ahead and clean this off, and then get another. We're doing the same thing, just on each part, working as we go, so that. You know, it's protective and it looks good. It's good. I'm gonna drive this to shows. I'm gonna have fun in it. I'm gonna be going around. I'm gonna open the hood, show off the. It's got a 460 engine in it, so I'm gonna be showing off the stock engine in there, and I'm gonna clean it up one day and everything. But you know, while we have the time, and I'm not able to do that yet. I can work on these other things. You can do little things, big things, while you're waiting for something else. You don't have to just stop a whole project and never grab it again. And you don't have to do too expensive things. I think the amount of paint I bought is like $100 worth of paint, and that's paint and primer, and then a grinding wheel and all that. And the grinding wheel will last more than just this project. So you can get a lot done with just working at it. I would just take that into mind when you do have a project like this, you know? Enjoy it, have fun. Part of it is building it and building the bond with the vehicle and the connection. And then you can show the fruits of your labors after everything's done. It doesn't have to be just easy, buy a fast car. You can work on it and have fun with it. So I'm going to start working on this while that black enamel dries. I didn't realize this comes with, I believe this is a Durspark. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong on the screen, but I didn't know these were actually just screws that hold it in. This truck no longer actually uses this. I think when I got it, it didn't even use it. But I think I've effectively disabled it with the distributor that I've got. So I actually don't need this anymore. So I might even just remove this completely, or I'll put it back in just because I don't know how the wiring works quite just yet. But I'm gonna pull this off, and then there's these tabs that your wires run through. I don't know how. Well, this one's already broken, so I'm not worried about it. This one's broken. This one's oh, they're all broken, so I'll probably just yank them out. I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna just take them off, and then I'm gonna try to pop. This is like just a seal, basically. I'll try to pop this off, and these are just things that there's potential that you're gonna have to replace. I'm gonna look at this a little bit, but you might be able to, once it's clean, revive it a little bit. Cause see this, that right there is actually folded back, which I don't like. But I might be able to spray some WD-40 or something on this, and that'll actually, this will soak it up and actually revive it and make it last much longer than it actually did. Again, this is somewhere where you don't want to spray your brake clean, because the brake clean will definitely make it crack up and dry out. Here, this had the jack in it, and the jack had leaked all out, so I don't know how easy or bad this is going to be to clean up, but it made some sticky mess in here. I don't really, that stuff is gross. I didn't know these were held in with screws, but pulled it off. I want to make sure I keep that. Look how much gunk and crap is in the back of that, and I don't know if this thing is bad, but based off of what I saw in there originally, I don't even think this was working. I know that when I first got it, I had a intermittent spark issue, where I wouldn't get sparks on the first cylinder, and then sometimes I would. So I don't think this thing is working any good. So, and I have a distributor and internally resisted coil and stuff. So I think I'm able to delete this. I'm gonna keep it just in case if the wiring is that important. But for now, I'm gonna get a screwdriver to just knock some of this stuff off. That's what happens with this kind of stuff. And then I'm gonna pop these out and these out, like I was saying, and try to save as much of this side sealing stuff so that I don't have to purchase it in the future. And some of it you could this gets pushed against a wall, but say like this stuff, which this is actually cut and ripped, but this I think actually can just be popped in at a later time. It doesn't have to go in when this comes in. I'm also going to show you a trick real quick. I'm going to throw this in there too, but I'm going to, what I like to do is, you can see all these bags I've got right here. I like to take a bag, grab a Sharpie. This is a great system. I know a ton of people probably use this, but I'm going to say Motor Craft Box 2 Fender, and then I'm just gonna open this up and throw all my components into it, if you can get it in there, huh? And then there you go. I know exactly where the Motorcraft box to fender bolts are, and the capacitor's in there too. You might have. It's also good to take pictures. In this case, I have a video to just go back and reference. Okay, I don't remember where that capacitor went, so but now I've got a reference with a picture or a video on where that's going to go, and I can go back and put this right back where they were with no problem. And then let's say one of these screws was longer for a purpose. I like to just get a little pad here, write down what it is, and say specifically long one goes in the bottom left when you're facing it or whatever. Maybe even draw a little picture. Then rip it off and then fold it in half and throw it in the bag. And then there, you got instructions. You can help yourself out in the future by doing this now, instead of just having a box full of parts and not knowing where everything's supposed to go. So that's just a little helpful tip I found. There you go. And this one appears to be completely reusable. But of course there's some that wouldn't. It's got a tear going on right here. I don't know if that's from factory or not. It's got a pretty sharp corner here. But we'll clean this off, give it some water and such, and then spray some WD-40 on it and try to revive what we can, so I don't have to go and purchase more of it. I got that first piece here, but this piece, which is I believe is a different material, didn't end up so lucky. I ripped out one of the things, and it was cut anyways. But based off of what I can see, this is where that bracket from the firewall for this goes, the inner fender, and this one just goes along right in there. Right in there. And I believe this could totally be reattached on its own. It doesn't need to be done right now. While that one goes right here and gets squished, totally should be done right now. So we're going to handle that one. We'll do it in a bit while we're waiting for this to dry and that to dry and such. But I'm going to go ahead and get to... I've said this like 5 times. I'm going to go ahead and get to wire wheeling this and everything. Everything that you find, like clips and everything, go ahead and make another bag for it. There's nothing wrong with using a couple of bags. Just buy a box of sandwich bags and start throwing stuff. Label them and make sure you know where they go. Here's another. I really don't remember what this goes to. It was in there though, so I'm gonna be ready to put it back. I'm gonna put all my clips and everything into their respective bags, and then now we got a clear panel. Except for that, I'll take care of that. It has nothing on it. Then you're ready to clean. You don't want to leave your bolts or anything on there. You'll ruin the heads and basically strip them off before you even get to get a wrench on them. So you want to get a clean panel with nothing on it and then clean it. Alright, after a lot of cleaning, I need to blow it off, but that's what it used to look like, and now it looks like that. That's a whole different color. I believe these are galvanized. And I don't want to go too far deep into it, keep some of that galvanized coat on it, but I'm gonna blow it off, then use the brake clean again and wipe it off, and then go ahead and get a couple coats on it, and by the time this is done, we'll be able to go back over to the front end and clean that up. This is the first side painted, looks pretty good, but while this is drying, I'm gonna start working on this. I'm gonna pull this up out of the way, and then I'm gonna start just wire wheeling in here. I'm gonna leave all the screws and everything in it, but I'm gonna be careful not to dig into it because I don't want to strip them like I said earlier. But clean this all up, and then we're gonna do the same treatment in there, and if we can get some of this in here, just get what we can while we're here in there. So I might even pull this off to see if I could probably get a couple coats on this and make this look all pretty too, and then clean up underneath here while I have it open. I've got this this port block open, and it is just full of stuff. I don't know if this is just it fell down or whatever, or if it's something made a home in there. I don't know yet, but I guess I'll find out. So there is in fact a lot of stuff in there, and you can't see much, but it's pretty full. So and my thinking is that on the inside there's a panel right there, just some Phillips right here. Take that off and I can probably get it to it better. It's not great in here anyways. It's cleanish from what it was, but let me take that off. Never mind. They've designed it to where the brake pedal is in the way of the screw over there, so I'm just not gonna take it off, and I'll get it out one day, but I'm gonna leave it as well. I'm gonna not open this door and try to pull out just what I can for now, and then one day this brake will probably come off, and I'll get up in there. I got a lot of that to fall out. This is actually where it's supposed to drain. I didn't realize that until now. But it's a bit more clear in there. I don't know if you can see. I've cleaned all this off, and I'm pretty much for now only gonna paint here and up there, this, and then some of this right here. I'm gonna leave this because one, the inner fender when I put it on is only gonna cover up really right here, but also I think that I don't know if this is something that I need to do later on when I do the full paint. This is going to change color. It's not going to be red or anything, and I need to, those are just things that I need to look into and figure out. But for now I'm going to kind of leave it as is and just kind of do this and this, and then of course, and then this, of course. So, and I'll probably have to come back, but I'm going to have to remove the doors and paint in here to do that. So I'm going to leave it for now, and I'm happy with this anyways. Of course, I'm at the point where I've done all that I can for as far as wheeling and sanding and such, so I'm gonna do the brake clean and wipe it down and get all the grease that I can off, and then we'll spray paint. I've gone ahead and done my brake clean, and then I'm going ahead and mask all my wires here that I can, so that I just don't make them all one color, and now I don't know how to test any of them. So keeping those all clean, no spray paint on them, but gonna spray the rest of this. So I've got it painted here. It looks it looks so good, but right here, so the truck is gonna end up being white, and if I paint this black, I think I'm gonna run into some issues later, because when you paint it, you're gonna just have black in here. So I'm thinking the smart thing to do is to paint this white. But if I paint this white, this is all gotta be white, which I'm fine with. This, below this seam here, or this line, edge, it'll all be black, and then up here it'll be white. Or blue, but the white will cover up what I need. Because it's gonna be a two-tone, I believe up here is mostly blue, roof is white, down here is white. Unless I've got it flipped over, but I have white gloss on it, same as the black, just white instead, and I'm gonna do that to here at least today. One of these days I'm gonna take all these off and then go do all that. I've got a lot of stuff to think about for that. So for now we're gonna put white here, but I'm gonna try to let this dry. I got a couple. No, that's just the lighting. Put white here to make up for that later on. And then here, of course, I didn't do. And look at that. Look at that from the cardboard. Made a pretty good line here. That's fine. One, this is behind a panel. No one will ever see it. And two, I'm actually kind of impressed with it. Now, like I said, I don't know what I want to do here. If the truck's going to be white right here, well, when you open the door, you don't want to see the red. You want to see the white. So I'm going to have to work on that. But for now, this is actually quite beautiful how it ended up here. So and the reason why I'm not going to just paint over black now and maybe and then put white on top of it is the colors behind what you like, let's say you were going to paint white but you painted a blue behind it, or this red, it actually sometimes bleeds through. So I don't want to let that happen. So and darker the color, the more likely it's to happen, right? So I'm a little worried about putting the black in front of the white. That's why I have some of the white, so I'm prepared. But otherwise, it looks good. It's matching the frame pretty well. The frame's pretty dusty now because of that, but I've tried some. You just get a little bit of water in a rag and it comes right off. It's great. So I'm going to put white there, and we're going to let this dry. Actually, I'm going to probably let this dry completely before I even try the white, so that when I put the cardboard there, it doesn't pull up the black. And then here, This thing looks good. Imagine that in the truck. It's gonna look great. This is still drying. One of the side effects of working outside is that you're gonna get little specks and stuff everywhere on this. Most of them you can. I've been able to wipe off after it's dried and such, and it looks fine. But that is one problem with doing it outside. Even in a garage, you're gonna have some dust. So it's not a. You're gonna have some of it. You're gonna have some of it here. Now here, it's enclosed and stuff. It's gonna be harder for the dust to get there, but it can. But that's part of why I don't want to disturb it until it's completely dry. So next, I have the other side to do and all that to do, which you've seen how to do it on this side. The only difference, it's just reversed as far as this is in a. I don't know. I was missing that. This is a different angle, but otherwise it's the same idea. It's just gonna knock it off, clean this off, and spray, and then we're gonna put everything else back on here. The other one of these I still haven't cleaned, and we'll go over that. But it's looking good. Other than the fact now the engine looks dirty, but that's gonna be a deal for another time. Look at that side versus that side. So, went into this side. It has the same port and hole, but you can see, well, you can, and that's the issue. It's only in the bottom, really. It comes up this wall a little bit in here too, but currently, I don't see the reason to keep it. The only concern I would have is that this is integral to the heat and AC system here. I believe this is where, if you're not on, I don't even know if this has recirculate, but this is where it draws its air. So it draws, you can see, hard to see in there, this accordion right here, this goes into there and draws in for that might be recirculate. That close might be out there because this would close against that, possibly. I would have to take it apart to really know. But this, I don't see a reason. I don't even know why wouldn't they just make it drop in the first place? I know it can get into the fender a bit. Here on the fender, it would just drop like right back there. Here's my wondering is, one, I'm gonna wire wheel down here, and whatever comes off, and I'll just leave it, and the spray paint will hopefully seal it from coming back up here, and I think call it good. Or what I need to do is cut out the square of where it's been rusted through, which it's even, I think it's come off the wall a little bit up here. Oh, but I think it should just be left alone, and basically when sticks come in through the grill up there, they all travel here, and they're supposed to go through this tiny hole, but that hole, there's no way for them to go through all this tiny hole, and they just get stuck in here and it'll rust through again. Or I can let it, just the holes, let it do its job and fall out. The only other concern is that the AC would draw air. Well, it should draw air from up there anyways. It should, and not necessarily from here. So I think it's fine. I'm gonna wire wheel it, and then either one day it's gonna drop out, or it's just never gonna because of the paint. But we'll see. There's definitely got to be rust on the inside, but and there's still stuff in there. You can't reach in there, but it made it way easier to clean out. But I'm just gonna let it be. I think that's the correct answer. Not the correct answer, but the answer for this truck, because I see no reason for collecting sticks right here. It makes no sense to me. I wouldn't have designed it. I would have let it just drop, because this is huge. It catches a lot of. There's stuff in there still, which I'm not sure how I could get it to it one day. But that is something I can definitely work on one day. Maybe when I pull this one day, it'll grant me access to here. I haven't done that much research into that yet, but it does need to be done so that that doesn't rust out too. But I'm going to keep going. That's just something I ran into. The inner fender bracket to the firewall, got it. It's drying right there. And this is pretty close to dry. It was still a little tacky, so I didn't want to play with it too much. I'm going to let it sit there as long as it needs. And then the other side's still drying too. But I'm just going to do the same thing still. Oh, it looks good. Just wire wheel this side. Wire wheel it clean. Then one day I'll have to get in here, but that's engine based stuff again. Well, glad I caught that now. Yeah, it comes back on. And then I'll do it down here too, take this plate off and clean whatever in there. A vacuum works in some of these too, if you can get a vacuum thin enough to get in there. So while I'm waiting for some of the stuff to dry, I have these, which are plastic, rubbery, but they're pretty hard as a rock. So what I'm gonna do is, if you spray WD-40 on plastics and such, it'll actually absorb into the plastic and revive it. I mean, it only goes so far, you know. You're not gonna have something that's already cracked apart, you know, doing it. But like, see this? It's not gonna do too much for it, but it might help for now. So what you do, just take some WD-40, spray them on there, you know, flip it around so you can get the other sides, and then spray them. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna brush them, try to work it in a little, get some of that dirt out of there too, so they're clean, and just try to get them to absorb what I can out of this, because much longer they're probably going to start cracking if you had to remove them. I've done one little brush around them. I'm going to try to let them soak as long as I can, and when I reassemble I'll try to wash them. I'm just going to put them in some water probably, and try to just get the surface stuff back off so that I'm putting so I don't have oil on my nice new paint and all that. But just gonna make sure they stay doused and let that soak up as much as it can while I have the opportunity, and hopefully it gives it enough revival that they already feel a little better actually. Not crazy, like these are a bit harder of a plastic, but it's a bit more mendable without actually cracking it. So I started this side, and I made a mistake. I accidentally started this and I shouldn't have. So either I'm gonna let this dry, and either the white will cover this up just fine, or I'm gonna show you my example of it bleeding through, and we might be able to tell. This side will not get as much bleed as this side would, but we'll have to wait and see, because I really don't know what it's gonna do. But man, it looks good. Both sides now with the black corners there. So man, like, just little things like that will make a vehicle just be vibrant and look so appealing instead. As far as the holiness in there, I took a spray can and sprayed in there a bit, well, I hope it does something, because as much as I can do, maybe when I take it apart in there I can get a bit more in. But for now, that's just what it's gonna have to be. I got one of the inner fender to firewall brackets in, not in, painted, and it's looking pretty dang good. It's gonna look real good when we put it in the truck. Put it in with that fender, inner fender, and then the new frame right here, and then this. It's gonna look too pretty for the truck, in my opinion, with all this rusty and griminess going on. And so one day I'm gonna have to pull the power steering pump, and power steering column, and then the engine itself, and then redo these engine mounts and such. But that's for a future date, in my opinion. And then same thing down here with the spring, but I explained that already. we're gonna have to make this all pretty and such. But for now, I'm very, very excited and happy with this. And even down there, got a little work going on that. As far as the doors, I'm gonna have to take these and clean them up in a minute, and I'll paint them as well so they don't get any rust or anything, and it completes that complete solid look there. I can actually paint this part white and see how that's gonna actually look and turn out. It's gonna be they're definitely good separate colors, so it's gonna start forming it and making it look pretty cool. And I'm very excited about it. And of course, yeah, this side dust got on it, but again, it's the wipe away. It's gonna be fine. And both of these were painted at the same time. Plenty of time to dry. Although they're not gonna be at full strength for probably until tomorrow. But over 24 hours, then it will get to full strength. But I want to give it ample time to dry before I go pushing and touching against it. Same thing with the rear fender back there, and not the rear fender, the inner fender over here in the rear behind the truck. Give it ample time for this to harden, so that when I do go manhandling it and everything, it's gonna not just fingerprints and crack or anything. It's gonna be nice and solid. So, well, look at this, man. It's so bright. You can barely see it. The camera doesn't like it. So this side did fine. I see a couple little runs, but they're kind of indistinguishable, you know. Like there's one here and such. But I was having trouble. White is just that color. As I was spraying, I spray left to right, and back and forth, right? Well, you could see where it was thinner in places, and the back color was actually coming through. We'll have to see how well, I need to touch that, how well this actually sets, but it wasn't too bad. I think this side is going to have some issue, but I'm happy with it actually. It looks pretty good. I do need to touch up right there. I'm going to have to grab my cardboard, but look at it just pops more than the truck. The truck is so dull because of the rusty patina on it currently, which I love patinas, but I want a nice shiny truck personally. Maybe one day a patina truck, but this truck isn't. So we're going to make it all shiny and nice, and this is part of it. So I'm very happy how this turned out. We're going to try to do it over there, but we got to let that side dry. This side is actually still a little sticky. Some of it's going to come off with the tape, but that's just underneath there. It's going to be fine. This isn't too bad. I'm kind of happy with it. So some time has passed. I'm still letting that cure and everything. This is still curing, but I've sanded. I've wire wheeled this, and well, it got dark on me, so I don't know how much more of today there will be, but I do plan to continue working tomorrow. This is all still drying. Oh, you can't even see. I'll have to go get a light, but this is still all drying. I plan to do the passenger side white part, but other than that might be it for today, just because of light and noise and such, because I live in a neighborhood. And I still got more. I got to do the little wire wheels and everything, and tomorrow, look how small, if you can see that, look how small that wheel is now. That used to be a couple inches out. So tomorrow, when I'm all clean and stuff, I'll get in my other car and go and get a new wheel for that, and I can finish this up properly, and hopefully we can even get to this. It's probably around the same surface area as that, and hopefully I have enough paint for it, but I'll probably see y'all tomorrow. Welcome back. It's the following day. This morning I've got up and got a little busy. I've got this fender started. I've got the other side primed as well, but this fender's already coming together. And then up here, I've got this painted, this white section, and that down there. And this side is dry. That's still dry. Look how nice that turned out. I'm so excited for it. And so basically after this side's dry, that side isn't, but we're gonna we can actually start reassembling at least the fender parts. Still haven't got that apart yet. Need to. This morning I caved and got where's the grinder? There it is. Got a new wire wheel. Made my life a little bit easier. I tried to do this yesterday and I just couldn't get it cleaned off enough, so I had to wait until this morning to do it. Got a couple new wheels too. This was like $7. This cup style is going to be pretty good to help. So, and then I've got a new wheel for my bench grinder. We can clean some of the bolts off and everything, and not just have dirty bolts go right back onto new panels. Put on some nice clean stuff. Really make it pretty while we're in here. So that's going to be one of the next steps I'm going to do, is clean a bunch of bolts and such and put them on cardboard and paint them. And I know when I'm putting them on it'll probably crack or whatever, but this will at least give it a base, and then I'll go back and do some touch up when we get in there. But fenders are coming out pretty good, and we'll actually be back to putting it together. I also got the other bracket here. I think it's gonna go on it's gonna look pretty dang good on there. So super excited about that. Turned out pretty good. And yeah, it's basically the same stuff, just bit by bit. And then I've also got the plastics here. They are getting a bit more malleable now that they've soaked for a bit. They're not like rock solid. Yeah, they wouldn't do that before, so that's pretty good. Got paint on one side of this. I've been cleaning and painting some bolts and various other items, and I'm still letting these rubber and plastic parts soak. But while I'm doing that, waiting, pulled off the radiator. There it is. And I'm gonna start just getting it ready, because I'm waiting. There's nothing else for me to do. So this is where I'm gonna learn. This is the back side of the core here. These are put on from the inside. So if I ever do want to put my AC back on, I'll have to pull the radiator. I'll have to pull probably the fan, the shroud, the radiator, to just get back in here to reinstall this, which I think it's better that this comes out than it stays. It's just in the way, blocking cool air currently, and it's the old Freon anyway, so I couldn't charge it properly anyways. So I'm gonna pull it and get some space cleared out up here, and that's less I gotta reinstall anyways. But I'll keep all the components just so the day that I do put it back in, I'm all prepared and have everything for it. Well, I've got this torn apart. Everything, it's stripped down to just the one piece, and then there's a couple smaller pieces, like there's a bracket on the other side that goes there, but this is down to just the basic. And when I did this, I realized, wait a minute, I'm out of spray paint. Everything I've done, this fender, the other fender, these bolts and plates, that bracket, and then all of this up front, except for the white, the frame that I did and showed, and the rest of it, I did all of that with just 3 cans of spray paint. I did primer beforehand, but 3 to I think I'm actually yeah, 3 cans of primer, 3 cans of black got me this far. That's pretty impressive. It goes pretty far. So you know, it's not like the end of the world getting that many cans. You can spread them out pretty far, and they still go on fairly thick. I am noticing, like on this fender, I've got some light spots here. I'll probably take care of that, but that's just me, and I have enough in those cans to try to take care of that. But to get to this, really, as far as putting my whole front end back together, this is the last part that really needs to get painted. So I gotta go get some more paint for that, but only 3 cans did that. One can will do this whole thing easy. So I'm very excited that, you know, it's not a waste to go with these cans. Although, like I was saying yesterday, the bucket of paint and put it into a paint gun, you could probably go way further and for cheaper. But in these cases, this is all you can do, and it turns out pretty dang well. There's a little dust because it's fallen, but it's already dried for the most part. I don't want to put too much pressure on it yet, get my fingerprints in there, but it's gonna look pretty dang good when it goes in. I got these plates done right here. They're looking pretty good on there. There's a little bit of dust accumulating around here, but still looks good. Man, it's bright right there, but you can see the white right there. Looks pretty good. And then we have, it's just some water. I put the things that we were soaking in WD-40 in here, and my hope is that I can kind of just get that surface off so that it's not just oily to touch, but it's revived, which they've revived a bit. They're much more pushy than they used to be, so hope that did the job enough. And they feel a little oily. I mean, they're going to be a little oily, but they're going to go in there and be happy again instead of all crusty. Same thing with these. This one's still bad. I'm considering looking into it, but I can always replace this later. This one looks just fine. That passenger side of the car is just, everything hit it worse. It's more rust and everything. So yeah, this looks, it looks pretty close to even new. But I'll give it another little rub down here and then start putting this stuff on. That's pretty much done drying, but I'm letting it there and cure. I've got the core support. I cleaned it off and primed it. Very excited about that. It already looks almost magical. And so I'm letting this side this primer dry, and then I'm gonna go to the other side and prime it as well. Day 3. I got up this morning, painted this. Looks a little spiffy, you know. It looks pretty good. I've got some of the mounting and plates and stuff painted and drying. A couple of clips, and this is all for the driver's fender, which, now that everything's dried enough and I've got enough hardware done, if we come over here, yeah, we got a nice clean fender here, and this is all ready and everything. I've got my bolts, and we're gonna actually put this in here in a second. And I've left this loose. It's movable. I'm not gonna try not to move it too much until everything, because I don't want it to get onto the white there. We'll put it on and it'll start coming up. I've put, obviously, this plate on. I've got the rubber here, which is way more movable than it used to be, that we've added the WD-40 to it and let it rest and everything. So okay, based off my picture, this is the right way, and I'm just going based off the indents and everything here, and I believe that the fender itself is actually supposed to go on this side of it, and the bolt goes in here, and you can see where the clip was here, at least I can, and so I think the fender was on this side, bolt through here, and then squishes it. We're gonna go ahead and put the fender on and see how this goes. You know, sometimes this happens. I forgot to do something. We're gonna have to take this back off. But it's not the end of the world. On here, I forgot to put my little buffer between these, so it prevents rattles and also prevents wearing away. So I didn't clean this. I'm gonna give this a bath real quick and then we'll put it on. Couldn't find my my WD-40, but I did find some PB Blaster, and I rinsed it off and then put it on there, and it seems to help. It actually helps clean it even too. It has some like rust just pressed against in it, so that will even probably help pull that out. But I'm gonna let it soak just for a couple minutes at least, rinse it off, and then we'll throw it on. I don't know what happened, but I think that PB Blaster or something reacted with it or something, because now it's got all sticky, and I don't know if it's because I don't know, but it got all sticky, so I put some soap and water on it and then washed it off that way, and then I'm gonna let it bake in the sun here, maybe try to seal that back up a bit, which I'm fine if it's a little sticky and just, you know, makes that seal. It's what it's kind of supposed to do, is just press against it, but it seems a little too, I don't know if WD-40 would have done that or not, but I lost my can, so I'm just doing with what I have, and so I would have rather done it with this WD-40, but there's no guarantee that that wouldn't do the same thing to this material as well. Well, I'll see how this works. If one day I might just have to pull it, but for now, we're just gonna go with what we got. All right, got it on now. It's not near as pretty as the actual fender. The fender's a little dusty now, but it's gonna be. To me, it's a needed component just so it keeps down rattles and seals up the engine bay a bit. So I think that's good. It's looking pretty good, honestly. I'm leaving everything loose because when we put on the core support, it's going to have to move and such. So we're going to leave everything loose for now, and then once we get it all set in, then we'll tighten it up. You got this down in here. It's looking nice down here. So I got a couple scratches. This is from my buckets that I was holding this on when painting and such, and spray over. That's fine. We're going to come back in here and probably spray, give it a clean, give it another spray, and for any of those, like we missed a little down here underneath these, and fix that up, and we'll do a spray down here just to give a good finish, and like getting onto the bolts and such, they're gonna crack around the edges and such, so we'll spray it to clean it up, and it'll all be fine. And a spray on this might be good anyways, because this probably needs it. But dang, that's really making this front end look way better. I'm very excited about everything, really. But now that it's coming back together, you just get your hopes up, and you feel so much better about what you're doing. And you're like, man, I might know something or two. I don't know if I'm doing it right exactly, but you know, it looks like it for now, so I'm happy. The next work is to continue getting everything done for this side, and then install this side, which the fender's ready. Bracket is primed. I don't think it's painted yet. And then hardware, of course, which I've done a little. I've done this hardware, but not this hardware yet, so I need to hurry up and get onto that because it takes a long time for this to dry. This black, the primer dries up real fast, but the actual paint enamel takes a long time to dry. Passenger fender, inner fender, ready to go in. Bolts have finally dried enough that I can put them in. This is dried just enough to let me put it in. So we're about to like really pull this thing together real quick here. once that's in, core support will go right in. I already have had that done and dry, so it's gonna be pretty, hopefully pretty smooth right after this. Oh my, dude, look at how that just is bringing it all together. And then if I get the core support, it's gonna look crazy in here, like just amazing. It's gonna close the hood and not even know it's in here, but there's some little beauty going on. All right. Well, now we're down to the core support's gonna go in next, I believe. And let's check underneath this one. Yeah, we had a little bucket damage to the paint. The primer's still behind it, so it's completely fine. But that's just gonna happen a little every now and then. I do believe this might have to go above this lip. I'll check the other side. But man, this is really making it look good. I had a lot of trouble getting these bolts down here on each side. This one in particular actually I had a lot of trouble. And it's because you can see dirt here. I didn't clean the inside of these mounts very well, and I painted right over them. But worked them back and forth a bit, and got them to go all the way in. I'm gonna leave them loose, just like I left this loose. I'm gonna put all my hardware right here, all of that in, and then we're gonna, once all the hardware's in, we're gonna go around and slowly put it all tight. And once it's all tight, then I'll do the final, go around and make everything solid. But look at that. Like, even it's dusty and such, but this is just, it's a whole new engine bay. Look at that. I'm gonna, once I get everything on, like here, it's gonna need a couple spritz of paint just to clean it up a bit, but that's going together nice. So, apparently I was wrong. This faces the other way, goes to that hole right there. So, I gotta flip it over. And it's not like the other side of that. It's the same direction as the other side. Not exact mirrored, so. But I'll fix that. Otherwise, I got the fenders on. Got the hardware. Went around. I do have this. It's so stripped out. The only good threads are way down there at the bottom there. So, it's not supposed to do that. So, that's the only one who had an issue. We've got future issues coming up, but I'm not terribly worried about them. I mean, it'll wear out one day, so I'm prepared to get this one. I have the spot that I left it is a spot where it's not very structurally required, but I would rather have it. This side, everyone went in. This side is way better. What you'll notice with vehicles, especially when you get into stuff like this, one side is completely different than the other side. Not as the design necessarily, but as how the road treated it. This side has so much more rust, dirt, and debris, and stuff going through it than this side, which was actually pretty clean and not like disturbed and solid. So, with the exception of back here at the bed, this big old hole, but that's more of the user's fault, not necessarily the road being hard on it. But that is looking clean. As far as I got all this tight down here, get the core support close to it, then I tightened down the core support all the way, and then I came up here to do these three, which I pulled on the front and then tying one of these down and then tying the rest of them down. And then I went to here, and that's how I left it up and down, which I just got it. I can kind of see the indentation of where it used to be as far as the washer goes. I can't see it in the wall here, but I figured it's gonna kind of want to rest. It's gonna rest where it wants to, but I also put a little upwards pressure on this side. The other side I was happy with. I tried to get it kind of center average in the adjustable holes there. I might have to change it eventually when it comes to the hood and such, but see, this one's pretty much in the middle, which I would rather that side be, but it wasn't gonna do it. So, but this side went ahead and did it by itself, and I don't know if that's because this side had been wrecked, not necessarily totaled or anything, just you can see some of the grill and stuff, it's been pushed in, and I wonder if that kind of did some stuff to this. But that's the core support and inner fenders in. I'm very excited about that. And honestly, you could do this. This one isn't, they're not pressing quite against it. I don't know if that's just me not getting in there far enough, but I couldn't push it anymore and I didn't want to force anything. So, other than that, I'm not sure what else I'm gonna do for now. I've got this stuff to clean up, but I'm kind of waiting on that because I'm running out of time for this weekend. I have a new one of those. That's just a jack. It's not required. Power steering pump's kind of important, but I kind of want to save that for another day. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I want to get new hoses for it. I should, but I don't know yet. And then the rest of these parts are just the stuff that mounts on the inside, like the strap for the jack, the box, and then this is where I actually kept my gas can. I'm going to change that now that I have paint in here. The battery bracket, which I'll get to eventually, but that's stuff I can kind of do. I can even put on the hood, or put these back where they came from, which would probably be good. But that's all a work in progress, and we'll get there as it comes. So this is probably gonna be the end unless I say otherwise. I might even clean this time and then get another coat on here. You can see I got some thin spots on my black here, and I'm looking hard for those. Most people would never even notice. I feel like we saved some of these parts from any further destruction. Thank you all for watching. I had to put it up. My weekend ended. I got what I wanted done. I always could wish I could have done more, but went ahead and tarped it up, put it together safe so that when it rains and everything, it's not gonna get splashed on and stuff, and protect that paint. Technically, it'll probably cure for another, probably through the rest of the day. You can smell it. The stuff I had inside, you could smell, and still fuming off, but next time I come back, I'll continue doing more, hopefully work on my other car, and so I really appreciate all y'all. Please like and subscribe, and please be prepared for more videos. I would also like to let y'all all know everything that I learned and everything is from getting out here and working on the stuff and getting your hands dirty and getting greasy and everything. That's how you learn this stuff. But other references and stuff too, like that I get inspired from, is also channels such as Junkyard Digs, Pole Barn Garage, Garage Time TV, Vice Grip, and all of them. They all show you different aspects and different locations on how you have to handle this, and what's fun about it, and how to enjoy it, and how to solve certain problems. A lot of the stuff I do here, I apply from them. So please check out those other people as well, because they are what help inspire me, and I hope that I inspire people and they continue inspiring people. So thank you for watching. See you next time.